Hey everybody, welcome to episode 76 of the Tesla Life for December 5th, 2018. My name is Russell Frost. Did you miss me last week? And a big resounding no comes from the crowd.
Were you not here last week?
Oh, that hurts so much. I was not here last week because I was
on assignment. That's right.
I was on assignment. Yes. But I'm here this week, and I'm so glad to be back. Yay! And we got a ton of news. So let's get this show on the road, as it were. My wingman, the creator of this show, the friendliest man in Canada, Mr. Mark Cogman.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We've got the regular plethora of news for this week.
It's a plethora.
A plethora of news. Exactly. So let's get to it.
The SAT word there.
Let's get to it. Well, speaking of getting to it, our man in Chicago, he's running a minimal rig this week, but nonetheless, he is still vital and important. Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Plethora of news, and I have a paucity of microphones.
Well.
Yeah, so I mean, same microphone here. So.
Wow.
But, that's it. Hi, everybody.
Well, and finally, a man with fancy lighting, with a microphone. He is our man about town. He owns more Teslas than you can shake a proverbial stick at. Well, at least he did until he sold his Model S. Dr. Evan Fusco.
Hey, everyone. Pardon my cough tonight. I've got a little thing that's been going on for a couple weeks, so I may hack a little bit. I'll try to mute when I do, though. But good to be on tonight.
Did Missouri vote that shit legal?
I wish.
I had no idea.
They did medical marijuana. Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I happen to have an MD after my name, so
I was just going to say
That's why you're writing scripts all over the place.
Is that a big Roosh bong up on the bookcase behind you? Oh, that's a drone. Okay, I see. I dropped a brand name bong too. Thank you. I live in California.
Oh, what was it?
I'm not going to tell you.
No bong said brand.
You're going to have to watch the show.
Brish.
Yeah. Well, for our first story, let's go to Mr. Mark Coughlin, who has something about a billion hamburgers.
Burgers, I think.
A billion sales. No, Tesla has crossed the billion-mile mark in autopilot.
Wow.
The fleet of Teslas out there now has crossed over 1 billion miles while in autopilot. So all those data collection points are flowing into the neural net, and hopefully we're going to get a better experience as time goes along. But it's interesting that they've hit 1 billion miles just in autopilot. Not just, the cars have driven further than that, obviously, but 1 billion while cars are using autopilot, collecting that data, bringing it back to the neural net, and again, able to analyze that stuff as time goes along. We certainly are with the, of course, ramp of the Model 3 and many more people getting their hands on a car, it's really jumped this number quickly. So exponentially, the number's gone up since its inception with the first Model S. But now things are really picking up speed with the number of people that are using autopilot. And that's you hear that all the time, especially with the new autopilot that allows you to get on and off freeways. More and more people are just are using it and putting on more and more miles. When we put this on the Tesla Life Twitter feed, we had a number of respondents quickly send back the note that, well, I've got 25,000 of those miles. So there's a lot of people that are obviously using it, and the number reflects that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
There's no indication in the article as to whether the people were all awake and or sober.
For the record, that was not me. That was him.
Yeah, they didn't have the eye monitor working yet on that.
Yeah.
So,
but I did find it interesting that earlier this month, Tesla reported that they had 10 billion total miles, which is a lot of miles.
Yeah. That's a couple times to the moon and back.
Yeah.
That's a joke, kids.
Or just one spaceman.
That's a joke. Well, next story?
yeah,
Next story. Let me
someone was on assignment.
you would think, right? Like I'd be all ready, and no, I'm not.
No assignment without ass.
I'm not that ready. So I was at the LA Auto Show last week. That's why I wasn't here. That's why I missed my first Tesla live broadcast. Now I'm just another part-time guest that comes on once in a while. Stuff. Just another spud with access to the YouTube link. So, nonetheless, I want to talk about not the show in general, but guess who had a booth? Guess who had a booth? Yes, Tesla. Tesla does not do booths at auto shows all the time. This is an unusual thing for them. So I was kind of shocked. Now, small booth, kind of wedged in sort of a little corner right by Audi. But nonetheless, there it was. They had a booth. They had some cars on display. Here in front of you, you see a wonderful white Model X. This is their little meeting booths. They can go in there and have a very private public meeting.
Yes.
Wow.
No one can hear, but man, if you could read lips like Hal or something, they'd still be locked out of the airlock.
Exactly.
Excuse me. No, the white one is a Model S. What am I saying?
Yes.
Model S. Model X in what's the gray color? Quick.
Gray.
Metallic gray.
It's just metallic gray. Okay, I didn't know if it was like midnight obsidian.
Oh, it's
gray.
probably midnight gray or something. Yeah,
Okay.
they changed the names just for fun.
Sexy with the white interior seats. You know, very nice looking.
Nice.
And the ubiquitous red Model 3.
Yep.
You can see a few of the Tesla delivery specialists who were there on hand. They had quite a few, in fact, Tesla delivery specialists there to answer questions and talk to people about the cars.
Were they specifically delivery specialists? Or
Yes, they were.
Interesting.
I mean, I talked to them and I asked them that question.
That's a performance model too.
Is it? Oh, because the red
you can tell by
calipers.
the tail and the red calipers.
Oh, thank you. Well, that must be because of the carbon fiber tail must be why this happened. Now, I don't know if you can see this really well on YouTube or not. I've got a couple of shots of it. And what that is, what I'm showing you there is a place where the paint wasn't applied evenly. In fact, that's primer showing through the red multicoat.
I thought someone painted the Milky Way on it.
Yeah.
Where that kind of pale spot there in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's primer showing through the paint where it's too thin. I'm not going to make a bigger point other than whoever was in charge of taking care of the cars to get into the show probably should have noticed that. There were some issues with the gray Model X2. The wheel wells and the door jambs weren't painted completely. And how do I know this? Did I discover this? No, I didn't. It's an auto show and everybody talks to everybody else and everybody said, oh, have you seen the Tesla cars at Tesla booth? Oh my God, I can't believe it. And yes, I had to go back and I looked and I saw it myself. So it's, it's not.
Yeah, usually these cars at an auto show are you could they go over them with a finely toothed comb to make sure everything is perfect.
Exactly.
If not beyond perfect.
For really good reasons, right?
Yeah.
For really good reasons. So it's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that Tesla's a horrible company. It means that whoever deals with their auto show stuff's kind of a geek, kind of an idiot, and should have noticed this and should have fixed it because it happens. Every car manufacturer makes mistakes, and I'm not making excuses for Tesla, but I'm calling them out on this, and I'm also saying, hey, whatever.
Well, I think it's significant because that's probably one of the primary complaints that people have had on delivery is paint issues. My good friend that I actually rode up to Kansas City when I picked up my Model 3, we were on the road hour and a half away from Kansas City when he got the call that, oh, by the way, we found some paint damage on your car, when they told him the day before that everything was perfect and ready to go. And he had severe damage on his paint. So it's, it sort of reinforces everybody's beliefs that they're not doing a great job with delivering these cars in ready to deliver condition.
Yeah, not even that. But Russell, if you had to guess, how many people do you think were carrying cameras at the auto show on media day? I mean, wow.
It's more like how many cameras per person.
Yes. I mean, those cars at auto shows are meant to have their pictures taken. And that is why they go over them with a fine-tooth comb.
Interestingly enough, now this was last Wednesday. This was a week ago. How many stories have you seen about this in the media?
None.
Odd, isn't that? Isn't that odd?
Wait, do we count as media?
No,
we don't. We definitely don't. Just ask the folks at CES. We don't count as media. But I mean, I think, again, not a big, huge point, not a big conspiracy thing or anything, but I find it interesting that, again, and I know this was the buzz because I heard it from other people that had nothing to do with Tesla. They said, have you been to the Tesla booth? Have you seen this? Wow, this is a little clutch of us from different companies talking about this. Yet it got reported nowhere. And, maybe it doesn't deserve to be. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much of a story, really. Like, their paint had a blemish.
Or is it the inexperience of since they're not doing many auto shows, whoever's in charge of it is not at the top of their game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they just grab these things off the line and brought them out there, and
or if you're only doing an auto show once in a while, how hard would it be to make sure everything's okay?
That's
the other side of it.
I hate to rub salt or something, but to what Russell had said, this wasn't a car. There were two different cars.
Yeah.
With paint issues. So it's not like they overlooked the Model S or the Model 3. I mean, whoever was in charge of the S got it right. The two folks in charge of the X and the 3 are the ones that misdrew. So I don't know. Again, like Russell said, it's not that big of a thing, but it kind of is a big thing.
So what Russell, at the show?
Yes, sir.
Was there surprise that Tesla was there? Like, did you talk to people that were kind of surprised?
So again, this is media day, and the only people there are media people.
Yeah.
And I would say a third to a half of them were like, "Oh, hey, Tesla's here." Who would have thought? Yeah.
So they haven't been at the LA Auto Show in a while, haven't they? Like it's been a number of years.
That I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't. Maybe they may have been there last year. I don't know. But I know that in general, Tesla doesn't do a lot of these things.
Yeah. But I think things, possibly things have changed because of the launch. And right after the 3 showed up in Toronto, I know that they pushed it out this fall already to Europe, right? Did the Paris show. It's done the LA show. And it'll be interesting to see if they push it out to Detroit or Chicago or Toronto again.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be interesting to see. I mean, I on one hand, I respect it takes balls for a company to say, we're not going to do shows. We're not going to spend that money. I respect that sort of. And on the other side, it's good to get your product out there to answer questions. And aside from the media days, the hundreds of thousands of people that attend these shows of consumers get to see the cars and get to talk to people and stuff. People that maybe don't go to Tesla galleries. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
I was just checking the Chicago Auto Show, and once again, they will not be at the Chicago Auto Show.
There's probably something to the fact that if you want to be considered to be a part of the group, you need to act like you're part of the group, and whether that's should be the right way. It may just be that they should be showing up and saying, "We're big dogs now. Take us seriously." I don't know.
Okay, maybe. I don't know, Evan. Do you think they're still a very small company? I realize that their valuation this week exceeded Daimler's, which is both humorous and scary. But they're still numbers-wise a small company.
Yes.
That's all.
But they're not insignificant in the industry anymore.
I definitely did not say that.
Yeah. So I mean, so at some point you got to start announcing yourself as we're real players here.
And I think that certainly could happen, you know, after this year. I think that if they continue to grow as they forecast, they're beyond a niche player. But you know, right now they're in between. But I guess we'll see what they think.
So JT in the chat, I'm trying to work something up. He alluded to, you know, Flufferbot will now have an unemployed robotic friend. Yeah. So the painting robot and Flufferbot maybe are having an affair, and
that's so sad. Flufferbot. Well, let's talk about something more fun. It looks like Electric reported last week that a Tesla owner had hacked their Model 3. And of course, you don't dig into the complex coding and software system that powers your very expensive car that carries you at high speed through dangerous passageways, unless you're going to do it for something important. And in this case, this owner hacked their Tesla Model 3 so they could run. Is it Ubuntu or Ubuntu? I don't know.
Yeah.
But to play YouTube videos.
That's important.
Yes, it is. You know,
concept.
Cat videos are not standard in the Tesla.
I got nothing.
Well, at least on the picture, it looks like he's watching a SpaceX launch, so that's legit.
Yeah, hold on, let me bring that back. Yeah, I'm not sure if I had the.
A SpaceX launch? Okay, well, there you go. That's certainly. I feel better about him driving down the freeway watching a SpaceX launch and not like cat videos. That would piss me off.
Right.
Nothing like watching a cat video.
Yeah. Nothing to keep anything to keep the road rage in line. You know?
Exactly.
So I think you know, if I look closely here at the it looks as though in the address, the other open tab up here was www.youtube.com/whatdrivesus. And if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, take the opportunity to click the subscribe button.
Except it's the wrong show.
I don't care.
Oh man,
so close to being awesome, Tony.
Just slightly off. Just slightly.
You get that a lot.
I feel like.
Just move on.
Can we go to the next story, please?
Time to move on to the next story.
Let's go on to the next story.
Another number story.
There we go.
Tesla hits 1,000 Model 3s produced in a day, according to a leaked communique from Elon to employees. So the company was, of course, trying to get to that 7,000 mark per week. This indicated that they were at 1,000 a day. I'm not quite sure if they did it for 7 days in a row. The letter or the email didn't actually say that, but it did indicate that they've hit the milestone of 1,000 Model 3s in a single day. So they certainly are trying to get to that 7,000 mark and stated that they wanted to be there by the end of November. And of course, this came out at the end of November. So hopefully in the next earnings call, which is coming, I guess, another month away, we're month 2 into the final quarter, they will announce what plateaus they've reached. But 1,000 a day has been reached. We'll see if they can string a number of them together and keep the vehicles rolling out. But it was good to see that at least they hit that 1,000 in a single day.
I mean, it's you know, obviously they take time off and reset lines and things like that, but that's about $250,000 a year working 5 days a week.
Yeah, and man, when it comes to like the last month and a quarter, they're really they're working weekends and everything. Like it's a 24/7, 7 day a week type operation. When they get into and that's the weird thing with Tesla, is that over time you start to notice that pattern. When it comes to the last month of a said quarter, that's when things really kick into overdrive, and they really push the staff to deliver as many as they can. I wonder if those spurts that they do, is that because they just cannot maintain that type of a rhythm for the other 2 months, or are they playing catch up after they go that hard and they need to reset so many things that it takes them another 2 months to get up to that level to push again? I don't know what it is, but it seems to be a pattern at Tesla.
I suspect that's not idle speculation, Mark Coughlin.
Well,
no, I mean, let's be clear too. The communique that that Inside EVs is quoting was just a tad ambiguous. And in fact, the other interpretation is that at no time has Tesla produced 1,000 finished vehicles per day, but some of the subsystem, like paint and like other things, had hit or slightly exceeded the 1,000 vehicles per day. That was the verifiable thing that was in this communique. It doesn't actually, like, we built completely 1,000, you know, but whatever. It's nitpicky, and we all want them to be able to make vehicles more quickly, because that's a good thing for their long-term health. We also want them not to have spots on the back.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So that is that at 41 cars per hour, which does just kind of, I'm trying to figure that out now. That's a minute and 15 seconds or so, something like that. So that's pretty quick turnaround as far as them coming out.
Yeah. It's not as fast as, you know, someone like Ford or, you know, GM, but you're right. It's much faster than what they've been. They are certainly heading in the right direction. It'll be interesting to see if they can continue to ramp that up, getting more towards over 7, 8, 9, and ultimately the 10,000 that Elon talked about when they were getting into production hell. That's obviously where they want to be, but I don't know. It's a good amount of cars, I think, to where they are at this particular point in time. I think they can get better. I think that they are, as Elon had mentioned in another communique about cost per car, they're measuring things down to the pennies per part. They're trying to figure out what allows them to move a pallet of parts less often. One move is better than 2 moves, saves them a couple of pennies on production, on people walking around, on time. And that's where they're at, is how can we further enhance the system to make it better, cheaper, and faster.
You know, it's interesting that you say that they're trying to pinch those pennies, and yet they still build all the cars completely with all the enhanced autopilot and full self-driving hardware and stuff, you know, and that can't be cheap, right? You know, and that at some point some bean counter is going to have to crunch those numbers and see if there's enough ROI, that they're getting enough people that are going ahead and paying the money to turn it on after purchase to justify that.
But it is a huge profit margin if they get whatever percentage that is of people to switch after the fact.
Yeah, because it costs them nothing more.
It costs them nothing more. All they do is turn a switch and it's there, and they get, you know, $8,000 in their bank account.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. And it does make you wonder, when they start producing the 35,000, are they going to not have it in any of those, just to try to keep that cost down?
I'll make a prediction. No, they won't.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably a pretty safe prediction.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know.
I bet they're gonna keep the hardware in.
Really?
Yep. The cameras, all of them are gonna remain in, I bet.
I'll take that bet.
Okay. All right, December 5th, 6:26 p.m. Central Standard Time.
But what time in Newfoundland, Tony?
Oh God!
God, it's like 8 o'clock or some stupid shit.
Time math. Hold on. Oh,
well, we'll move on to the next story as Tony does time math. And, the next story we've got is an interesting photo that was submitted through the Twitter feed. And of course, if you're not on the Twitter feed already, please go to @TheTeslaLife and subscribe and join the group and see what's going on all throughout the week, not just on our weekly show. But this shot was taken in Philadelphia on Broad Street in 2 times, November 27th, 1908, and just last week.
That's great.
But what a cool shot of basically the same area. And by the way, the car that's in the 1908 shot, that is an electric car as well.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
And then we've got this gentleman, Lanny H., took the photo of his car, lining it up in almost the same pattern. Yeah. And it's interesting to see that you can see a couple of the buildings. Obviously, the clock tower in the distance in the center is the same. But also in the 1908 picture on the left, the first building, you can see part of it in the new picture as well.
Yeah.
Same building. Just blocked by a newer building, it looks like.
Yeah.
But very cool to see that.
One. Maybe, and the one behind it as well.
Still in presenter mode.
And I think the one with the tower is Independence Hall in the back. Just FYI for you.
Mark?
What's that?
Am I still in presenter mode?
No.
The guys in the chat are saying that it's the camera's not switching.
Okay, I've got it presenting.
I'm seeing Mark's thing.
I know.
So that's interesting. Well, we will attempt.
Says it's better now.
Hockey Day says it's better now.
This is the best free software that
the money can buy.
Yeah.
These guys are paying top dollar for right.
Yeah. We'll give them all a refund on their.
Don't use the R word. Not on live. No. Do not use the R word.
Hey.
All right.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. And I guess our next story is going to Mr. Fusco, who has a little story about a car trying to be pulled over by the police.
Yeah, first a disclaimer, this was not me. But so I'll start this off by saying, you know, there have long been stories out there about people being pulled over by the police for no good reason other than the police were interested in seeing the car and wanting to know more about it and what it is and how it works. So maybe this is yet another story that goes to the fact that more and more people do know what a Tesla is and how, maybe even a little bit how they work, because some sharp-thinking police officer noticed a vehicle traveling 70 miles per hour down the 101
in a 55 zone.
Yeah, in a gray Tesla, and saw that the driver was asleep at the wheel. So obviously in autopilot mode of some sort, which I guess is better than falling asleep not being in autopilot, but realized that he could pull in front of it and slow down and use the dynamic cruise control functionality to slow the car down by just being an obstacle in front of it. And he did so, pulled in front, slowed the car down, and then apparently the driver woke up and the car was going about 25 miles an hour and tried to exit and get off the road, and they pulled him over at a gas station, ironically, of all things, given a sobriety test and arrested for DUI. So there's that. Now it's kind of curious. You wonder, like, the autopilot should have kicked out on its own there at some point. So I wonder if he had a defeating device or if his head was on the steering wheel, keeping torque or something, right? To keep it going, because he said it was several minutes
Yeah, the police said they were chasing him for a while, and he wasn't responding to the lights or siren that was behind him.
6 miles, and this is on the 101, which is not. This is not a rural freeway, okay? The 101 between San Mateo and Redwood City, that 6 mile stretch there, super busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I guess it was later at night, so it probably wasn't that busy. But I mean, this is not like, oh, I'm on some rural highway in Idaho, and I'm just going to hit autopilot and get a little nap. This is kind of probably more like, I'm really too wasted to drive. I better hit autopilot quick.
So the police noticed that he was not responding, and obviously the police knew how the Tesla worked, or that a particular officer did.
Yeah, and of course, the Tesla isn't the only vehicle with dynamic cruise control, so it was probably a reasonable thing. And if it had hit the back of the vehicle, if it hadn't been in a dynamic cruise control, they still could have used it to slow it down.
It would have slowed down anyways, wouldn't it have?
Right.
Yeah.
And
that's all. That makes it all better. I actually heard a famous Tesla apologist on Twitter say that, isn't this better than having a drunk drive the car? Thank you, Evan. That's all I wanted to know. That's all I wanted to hear was somebody else with some sense just go, why? Jesus, no, it's not better. No. It's not better. It's awful either way. So,
yeah, we've alluded to that in the past with full autonomy, but we've also said we're not there yet.
Yeah. So interesting to see that that people are now picking up on it, and they used that to pull the vehicle over. But either way, it's a bad situation. Someone getting behind the wheel drunk, or that allegedly that drunk that they fell asleep.
Allegedly, the police chased him for 6 miles and he was non-responsive. So yeah, maybe he was drunk and passed out. Maybe it was just a little cognitive blip. This is wait, and who was this person? Isn't he like? Oh. Okay, sorry. I shouldn't have said that unless I remembered, but I don't.
I don't know who he was.
He was a Palo Alto city commissioner.
Oh, even better. Yes.
Better. Yes. Palo Alto city commissioner. Yes. So, hey, cheers.
Well,
right on.
Speaking of people that are working for the city, these people are not working for the city. They were at a casting call for a Tesla event that's coming, actually a Boring Company event that's coming up.
So boring.
Wow.
So this cast of characters is a group that is going to be, and I'm just going to force a present here so everyone can see it. They are going to be at the December 11th Boring Company's tower event that's happening in. And Russell's so disappointed he's not going to be there.
I so want to go to this. I so want to be there, and I could, but I'm not going to even be in California. Oh, look, we go.
Oh, we've got another guy that wants to join the casting call.
And your mother smells of elderberries. Look at that. That's a real metal sword he's wielding.
Yeah. Better than that woman that's got a loaf of bread.
I really like the girl with the baguette. Thank you. Actually,
a French baguette, I would suspect.
Oh no, it's probably Italian.
But this is great. They're going for the casting call for basically the tower crier that's going to insult people as they walk by the mock tower made of boring bricks in front of the tunnel that will be on display starting on December the 11th.
Crazy
stuff is right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So that group, it'll be fun to see when we get to the 11th as to what kind of hijinks happen at the Hawthorne location.
Hey, Evan.
Yeah.
Still have that sword?
Oh yeah.
We were presenting the cast.
There I am.
It's yeah.
So I will be vying for a position on the tower, I guess, too.
And,
wow.
Is this your home protection, your home security?
No, this is actually a ceremonial thing. My father gave. My real swords are upstairs.
Yeah, my real swords are upstairs in my armory.
His real swords are in the tower.
Go ahead. Make fun of my dinosaur, okay? Go ahead.
That ceremonial, I thought maybe it was for a bris or something.
Can you? Is that a doctor thing? I guess it might be. Huh?
Yes.
Scalpel.
It's definitely surgical steel. Definitely.
Ouch. Well, next up, somebody's pulling permits for a supercharger expansion, and I think Mark probably has the deets.
Actually, Tony does.
Tony has the deets. Excuse me.
So yeah, let me share this here because we had talked before about Tesla doing a trans-Canadian route, and so you can see there all the projected up here. And so yeah, it was on Electrek. They started working on the route, and they specifically did Ontario, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. 6 new permits in those areas, and I have this picture zoomed in here. So it's actually kind of neat to go out and look at their site and look at where there's current and projected superchargers.
I love that. Oh.
Now this site is actually supercharger.info, and they're the ones that actually keep track of whether it's permitted or just scheduled to be there, or if it's under construction, or if it's open. So they show the different dot colors based on the status, the blue indicating permits. And of course, if you hover over anything on the actual website, it'll tell you the number of days that permit has been submitted for. So you can see that they've had a permit waiting for 60 days or whatever the amount of time is.
Okay. All right. I have to say, when I saw this article and I was looking at these maps, it reminded me, you probably have, you seen the, I'm going to stop. You can stop presenting.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie where the guys do the Canadian road trip from east to west, and then they get in Vancouver on Canada Day, and they stop and they do the Canadian road trip?
Yep.
Yeah, I was just thinking how cool that would be to do that same road trip, only do it with Tesla superchargers on the way.
Yeah, well, hopefully that will be a reality in the near future. And of course, you can see there were several holes still. They're not even close to being able to complete that trip, but at least there's progress. Manitoba looks like it's done, or at least permitted, and Saskatchewan, there's one. There's a big hole between that and Alberta, and then across Ontario, the northern part of Ontario, there's a number of holes. But it was it's good to see that the Trans-Canada route is underway at least.
There we go. Yay, progress.
For the southern inhabitants, not so much for the northern Canadians.
Well, you get above the Trans-Canada, and there's not a whole lot of Canadians up there anyways.
Not a whole lot of anything but trees and lakes and
bears in the woods.
And bears. So, Mark, when this thing is done, I mean, can we expect a cross-continental trip from you in the Model 3?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
I'm performing.
Really?
I'll be heading out the door.
Oh, that was.
I don't know. That's a heck of a trip. That would be fun to do. But man, that would be. I can't even imagine the amount of time that would take to go from coast to coast.
All I'm saying is, if you need a navigator, I'm your man. Okay, I want to do that trip bad.
It would be fun. There's no doubt about it. But,
absolutely,
man, you would need a number of weeks to do it right.
Well, you just put the thing on autopilot until.
Oh yeah, just go to sleep. That's right.
Yeah, just go to sleep. Yeah. Have a beer, relax.
Yeah, I didn't even see that entire province. I was asleep.
Yeah, Well, and frankly, right, some of that stuff. Hello, what am I talking about? Saskatchewan here? Ouch! Sorry, we just lost
more viewers. Yes, indeed.
I'm so sorry. I should just shut up. Okay, I'm going to be quiet now. Next up.
Hey, before we move on, David in the chat room asked if the Model 3 is bear proof.
David, I do not aim to find out.
It'd be the nicest bear ever eating your car.
Yeah. It's like, I really respect the carbon fiber wing in the back. This is
I won't dent or touch that. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm going to gnaw on this tire.
I got nothing. Oh wait, I do. I have the next story. I think I don't have the next story, but we go to Electrek for the next story. Allegedly, just a couple of days ago, some document, and leak is like the word hacked. It's so misused. Let's just say that there were some documents that got out into the public stream. Tesla says that some of the information is outdated, but doesn't actually refute that these were official Tesla documents. But it's documents talking about the production plans for Model Y. This is the small crossover SUV that Tesla is planning on producing in 2020. In these documents, again, whether or not they're real, we don't know. They're talking about building a pilot line at Gigafactory number 1 by June of 2020. And that they were going to ramp up to 2,000 units per week on this pilot line by September of 2020. By the end of 2020, Tesla had planned, again, according to this document, to be producing 7,000 Model Ys per week at Gigafactory number 1 in Nevada. That's a lot of cars.
Yeah.
That's one production line, and that's in a very remote location. It would be very interesting to see them do that.
You almost feel like they just reach in one hat and pull out a date, and reach in another hat and pull out a number and go, and here's how many we're going to make by this date.
There's a dartboard somewhere. Model Y. Okay, there, Model Y. How many per week? Let me throw it again. 7,000.
Yeah. Let's make it best 203.
Yeah. And who knows? This maybe their plan, right?
Well, they're saying that with the ramp of the 3, they've learned many things. Like, first of all, they won't have Flufferbot in the Model Y list. Like that one's out. It's not going to show up there. So they're going to save some time just there. But you've got to believe that through the production hell they've been through, that they've picked up some lessons learned and will be able to make the Model Y a little bit more of a smoother transition.
Let's hope so. That'd be a good thing, right? Right.
You would hope. You would hope.
Yeah. Speaking of sales, Inside EV reports that Tesla Model 3 sales charge way past the milestone of 100,000 in US. I'm quoting them. That's 100,000 total, obviously not like today or this week or anything like that. But yeah. So the number, what the number is going to be in November? Well, we won't know until maybe January. But Inside EVs is estimating that Tesla sold 18,650 Model 3s in the U.S. in November.
Wow.
And the one thing about their estimations, they're pretty close. Tracking their estimations of Tesla over the past 3 years, Inside EVs is pretty close as to what the figures are.
So there you go.
Yeah. So that's a huge milestone, of course.
So 18,650, that's number 3 for a month. It's the third highest amount of Model 3s produced.
So
we'll see what happens in December.
Well, and speaking of milestones, something happened this week that lots of folks outside of the U.S. have been waiting for. Electric announced today that the Model 3 configurator opens across Europe with a February delivery, and they can start ordering it today, right now.
All right.
But what can they order, Russell? Can they order the $35,000 car?
That's euro. 35.
I was going to leave that out, actually.
We know what they can order. They can order the most expensive car, just like everybody else could when it first came out.
Yeah.
So, and obviously, this is no accident of timing, right? I mean, the sales surge in the U.S. happened because of the closing of the full $7,500 federal tax credit availability. There's, I think, some legitimate concern that there's going to be a drop in sales in this midterm period where they don't have the full tax credit and the $35,000 S isn't available in the U.S. So it's time to, if you want to maintain your production rate, you've got to find some additional outlets. And there are some very eager people all across Europe, more than ready to lay down a lot of money for a Model 3. And, a lot of these places, they get massive tax credits for buying electric vehicles. So even though it may be top of the range prices that they're paying, it's still very reasonable for them for what they'll save in petrol or and what they'll get with their tax breaks with these vehicles. So it makes sense. It's a logical transition.
Yeah.
So I put this picture up. This picture from the article. It's a couple of things I wanted to point out. First of all, we were talking about streamlining production and making all the cars the same. So they keep the charge on the left side of the car, even though this is a right-hand drive vehicle. So I know we had even mentioned before, would they change the side of the charger to be on the driver's side when they move the steering wheel to the other side?
I think it's still a left side drive vehicle there, but
are you sure?
If you look
I
where
don't
the
think the right
screen
sides
is
are available yet, and the screen is behind the steering wheel.
Yeah.
It's definitely a left-hand drive.
It looked like it was over there.
I'm sorry, Tony. I'm going to disagree with you, sir.
Yeah, but, oh, man. All right, I'm done. I'm out.
Never mind.
I'm out.
I'm going to bring in someone who knows what he's talking about.
And Tony's been replaced by
Thank you, Tony Schaefer, for all your work on this show, sir. It's just been wonderful. Where's your friend Mort?
Mort's right here.
There you go. That's
wow.
See if Mort has a question.
That's what we need. We need a little Mort.
Are we all going to be required to bring a toy on the show from here on out?
You brought your sword. Leave me alone. Jesus, I got a dinosaur. What's up with that? Say that. I think this dinosaur hatred's a little much. What else we got here? I think we've got. Was that the last one?
That was the last one.
That was the last one, Mark.
It
can't be the last story.
I don't think I have another one. No.
You don't? You don't have one more thing?
I did have something lined up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. I didn't mean to jump it. Just like
no problem. No,
I'll just
for those that didn't know, there was a launch today for SpaceX.
Oh,
and they launched the Dragon capsule on top of the Falcon, and the mission was successful. But if you haven't seen it yet, go on to Elon's tweet and see how the landing of the first stage happened. It turned out that they lost some hydraulic fluid to one of the fins on the rocket that directs it back to Earth in a sustainable way. And the thing spun out of control, eventually landing in the water and tipping over, and it's all on camera. So it's a great watch to see this happen. But that's how it goes. You land 30 or 29 of them, no problem.
Yeah.
The 30th is a problem.
It happens. Yeah.
Almost 2.5 years since they have failed to land a first stage.
But of course,
other than the middle stage of Falcon Heavy. It's so it was a little surprising to see, but there's no redundancy on those grid fins, and so one hydraulic failure and it caused some problems. But it is a great video to watch, especially if you could watch. There's a good ground camera view of the actual touchdown into the water, and it's amazing to see how well, once the 3 Merlin engines fired, it was able to stabilize things again, and it would have been a safe landing if they'd somehow been able to direct it where it was supposed to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Luckily, yeah.
But luckily, the mission was a success. It delivered its payload, so that's good. But it was fun to watch the first stage flail around and come down kind of sideways.
So would it be fair to say, I mean, maybe with the booster coming down on autopilot, maybe the driver was drunk and passed out?
I got nothing.
Nest trying to get his attention or something.
I got a cute little dinosaur.
Okay. Oh.
It's not as cool as having sword, but what can I say? That's all I got. That's all you got. Let's do some shout outs and go home. Speaking of the man with the sword, take it away, Evan Fusco.
I have no shouting to do today.
Shout
out or otherwise.
Shout out. Okay.
Thanks for having me on the show. And I'll shout out to What Drives Us.
Thank you.
If you only watch this show usually, come watch What Drives Us tonight. It's our 300th show, and it should be a wild party.
Dinosaurs.
Out of control.
Out of control.
Dinosaurs and swords.
Dinosaurs, swords, hobbits, you name it. It's going to be crazy. And that's all the hype I'm going to give for that. Mr. Schaefer.
And the What Drives the Show starts in an hour. So, make sure and tune in. That's it. Shout out, of course, to everyone in the chat, which, I know David and Derek and Hockey Day, Lee Moon, 010 was in there. Hockey Day, David, Mark, Lee, everyone. Thanks, Lee, for the music. Really appreciate it. And like I said, it starts in an hour, so that's 1 o'clock general means time.
For those of you in Britain, yes.
Yeah, all of our UK viewers, thank you.
GMT is universal, so
I'm going to reiterate our thanks to Lee Moon for our theme music, and Evan's very kind mention of What Drives Us. YouTube.com/What Drives Us. We start in about an hour. Come watch our 300 show. Make fun of us because we'll probably be drinking and making jokes and stuff. So that's all I got. Before I turn it over to Mr. Coughlin for some final words.
Thanks to everyone for watching the show today. If you haven't already, please press that subscribe button here at The Tesla Life. Click on the little bell to get alerted for show start. We would really appreciate it. And what on earth is Russell holding up?
Just a sticker. Nothing. just some subversive
National
political
Park sticker. Yeah,
it's the alt U.S. national parks. Man.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The alt U.S. national park stickers.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you with
I have no idea what that's about, but okay.
Well, you're Canadian, of course you don't.
You have a real leader.
Yeah.
So thanks very much for following us. If you haven't already, press that button. Give us another follow. Everyone helps. And through the week, if you want to follow us, you can find us at the Tesla Life on Twitter and the Tesla Life #1 on Facebook. Please join us there as well.
2 awesome places. We've got a couple of titles. Drunk Autopilot Drives Better Than You, which I actually really like. And Is the Model 3 Bear Proof?
Awesome.
Again, I'm not volunteering my Model 3 to find out.
Yes. In other words, because I was going to buy a side of beef, put it in the car, and then drive your car. What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
What possibly?
You put it in like biodefense mode or something? No? I don't know. Nothing like having a side of beef in the driver's seat. That's all I got to say. Hey, thanks to everybody in the chat room. Thanks to all of you for watching. Thanks for. I feel like I need to apologize for missing last week. I'm sorry.
No,
there you go. Anyway, thanks.
See you in an hour.
That's it. We'll see you in an hour. Tune in next week and find out what is going on in the Tesla life.